Hey, everybody, welcome to Muscular Development's official preview of the Mr. Olympia. Joining me today, of course, the greatest from South America, Miguel Chain, the greatest from Europe, Giles Thomas, and one of the top 100 greatest from North America, me, Ron Harris, your online editor. So, guys, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad to have you both on at the same time. We've never done this. This is a meeting of 3 continents, I believe, maybe even more. No, I think that's 3. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, it's 3. It's 3.
So,
Thanks for having me here, Ron.
You're welcome. Yeah, because I mean, you've been doing a great job with Brazilian Beat, and of course, Giles has been doing a great job for years with MD Global Muscle, and more recently, the Buff Bombshell Show, doing a great job of covering the sport globally. And this is a global sport. We have the Olympia weekend with athletes from, I believe it's 3,000 different countries. Is that correct?
I think it's, no, don't exaggerate. It's only 2,999.
There's only I don't think there's even 200 countries in the world, but I'm always wrong. So I'm probably wrong on that, but let's get into it. I want to talk about the Mr. Olympia first. This is the biggest Mr. Olympia in history in terms of numbers. Even if a couple guys drop out, we still have more men on stage than we have since this thing began in 1965. Before we get into, I want to encourage people to get the pay-per-view. That is at MrOlympia.com because everybody can't get to Vegas, but you all have giant TVs in your living room and you can sync it up and watch pay-per-view and can have buddies over and have a couple drinks, some snacks, make a party out of it. So it's going to be going on for 2 days, Mr. Olympia weekend. We have full coverage here on this website. This channel, YouTube, and our website, musculardevelopment.com. We're going to be doing all kinds of coverage for that. But let's get into it, guys. I'm going to get your picks at the end. I'm going to try to get you guys to give me your top 10 when we're all done talking about everyone. Yeah, I hate it too, Giles. I'm gonna recuse myself from doing it because I'm an a-hole and I don't like confrontation.
Ron, we're gonna get this so wrong. Normally, what is our accuracy? Probably 95, 98%. And I've agonized over this for weeks, and I'm telling you, I know we're gonna get this horribly wrong.
Well, before we get into the preview, I'll give you. I did one of these with Fakhry Mubarak yesterday, just for the Mr. Olympia. Right. Here's his top 10. We can argue about it later, but this was Fak's top 10. And I think it could shake out. Of course, it could shake out 1,000 different ways. But he had first place Ramy, second place Hadi Choopan, third place Nick Walker, fourth place Hunter Labrada, fifth place Brandon Curry, sixth place William Bonac, seventh place Ian Valliere, eighth place Derek Lunsford, ninth place Samson Dauda, 10th place Andrew Jack. That was Fakhry Mubarak's. We'll get yours later on, but let's keep people in suspense. But let's talk about the champ guys, Big Ramy. As soon as we started seeing his update pictures back in September, where he was just under 340 or something ridiculous with a small waist, even though he was hiding the legs, we know Ramy's got legs. I wasn't worried that he had lost his legs. I was already starting to think, along with a lot of other people, he's probably got this in the bag. If he looks this good, at that point it was like 12 weeks out. My feelings haven't changed. I still see Ramy as the favorite. What do you guys think? We'll start with our special guest, Miguel.
Yeah, I think he's still the favorite. His legs are a little weird at this point with that things on his quads, but I think that's not stopping him from winning. I think everybody has a little detail or another. I've heard that. I think Ramy did a live stream with Phil, and he told that his goal, or their goal, is go on stage at 295 pounds. Okay. Which is very big, and he's leaner. Like you said, his waist is down, and it seems he's bigger. It's very hard to beat him this year.
Tiger, what say you?
Well, I actually spoke to him the other day as well.
Oh.
And and obviously last year he didn't start training for the Olympia until, what was it, July? He had 7 months of no training because he had, whatever went on in his personal life. He said that for this year's Olympia, he started the prep literally as he walked off stage last year. So he's trained for he's done a Dorian Yates and not even a Ronnie Coleman, because Ronnie Coleman used to take time off. Right. Dorian used to go straight into it. So he's really maintained like a low body fat level. I think he's really done well with the waist because, we all know Ramy's big, but at the end of the day, if he lost that waistline, it would be disastrous. Mm-hmm. And I think from all the updates I've seen, the first thing I noticed was the waistline. He kept it nice and tight. And I mean, like I said, I mean, I'll put it out there. I'm not the biggest Ramy physique fan. Like I said, this for me is a distraction. But thing is, most people don't seem to notice it. So I think he's probably okay with that. I mean, I spoke to Chad Nichols about it as well. And he just said, "Oh, don't worry." He distracted. He said, "Don't worry. Ramy will come in condition at his best ever this year." So I do believe he will. I mean, he has to just be. I think he is probably the favourite to win this again. And I just think that it's smart coming under 300. If he goes over 300, I think he's going to ruin, because I think he's actually quite aesthetic. Look at his side shots, his side chest, his side tricep. I mean, they're actually very aesthetic. The waistline looks nice, and I mean, don't forget that Ramy had to come in lighter to win the Olympia. Yeah. He was. I mean, he got that second that 1 year in 2017, but him coming down to under 300 was always the best move. And I spoke to him the other day, and he had the proper. I said, "Whoa, Ramy, I like the death face, mate." And that was. I mean, normally those guys wouldn't get that until they drop water and do whatever, literally until the day of the show. And he's got it like 2-3 weeks out. And Dennis said he's very, very happy. And I could see he looked me straight in the eye when he told me. So I think Ramy is the favourite. Like I said, I've got my own reservations about certain elements of his physique, but I do see him as the number one favourite.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone on record saying I'm not like a huge fan of his physique, but we all have our preferences for physiques. I respect the hell out of him, and I totally agree with him being Mr. Olympia. I don't feel like he's been stealing the title from anybody or anything like that, which brings us to Brandon Curry, who's been trying to get his title back for 2 years now, but he hasn't slipped down. He's been runner-up twice in a row. It's not like he's dropping down, yet I still hear a lot of chatter saying, oh, Brandon's going to be lucky to be top 5 this year. There's so many great new guys. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of disrespectful because it's not like he's injured and torn body parts. It's not like his physique's going downhill. I don't understand where that's coming from, other than just excitement about the new people in the show. Maybe that's what it is, but I don't know. He's trying to get his title back. He's been in Kuwait long enough. He wasn't there long enough for the Arnold, as we saw, which doesn't work out well for him. I think he's looking fantastic, but I agree. There's so much new talent. There's guys who have gotten better since last year. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it, maybe even get his title back. I mean, there's so many what ifs with him. Again, I'll start with our great friend from Brazil, Miguel. What do you think? Brandon Curry.
Yeah, man, I think he's getting second place. He's fighting for Ramy. It's not impossible seeing him winning this year. He's coming bigger. His coach told that last year he came at 242 pounds. And this year their goal is to bring him on stage at 255.
Wow.
So he's a little bigger.
No.
And he needs to be a little bigger. I think they're trying to get closer to Ramy in terms of size. Maybe it's a mistake because maybe it's a mistake because it's very hard matching big Ramys in size, and you risk getting there holding water or something like that. But it's very hard beating him. I think there's new names. People like new names. People like that. It's exciting. Okay, who's new? And there's the fact he's being at second place for 2 years now.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. Yeah.
And maybe if he gets another second place, it's going to be hard for him to recover the title, especially because he needs to spend, like you said, huge amounts of time in Kuwait, far from his family. But I think he's going to be there with Ramy. It's hard beating him. I don't see him out of top 2 or 3.
Okay. So Giles, you think Brandon trying to play the size game, trying to beat Ramy at his own game, maybe not the best strategy?
I think it's bullshit. Because I saw Brandon's 250, 260, 265, and I know it's bullshit. It's just they put it out there. I mean, I interviewed Brandon before the 2019 Olympia in his hotel room with him and Abdullah. And they were kind of saying he's going to be like, they were saying, oh, he's 250, and it was like, no, he's more like actually 245. And also, how many times have bodybuilders tried to play other people's games? The only one it ever really worked for was Jay Cutler when he tried to chase Ronnie on the side. And it took him how many years? 5 years, 6 years, 5 years?
Great point.
But like Flex Wheeler tried it. He tried to play Ronnie's game, coming in bigger and bigger. What about guys like Lee Labrada that just played their game at 180 against Lee Haney's 240, 250? Don't try and play the size game, because if you will lose against someone that is basically 50 pounds heavier and wider and thicker. Brandon's got those crazy muscle bellies he's got, but you know what it is, right? It really baffles me every year. Bonac and Brandon are the guys in the lead up to the show that say, yeah, they're going to be outside top 5, top 6, and they're still maintaining their position. I don't know what Brandon has to do to get that real respect, because everyone discounts him every year. And another thing? He's been very, very quiet on social media. He's been very reserved. And normally, and I know Brandon, I know that's a very good sign, because he knows. I think he knows he was lucky to win the Arnold. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He won that by a whisker, and he wasn't at his best. And I think he knows he's gonna be, even though he kind of won that, I think he's gonna be eager to redeem himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think you're gonna. I want to see him like in the condition he was in 2020. I really like that look.
Yeah,
I thought that was, if he'd have brought that look last year, I think he'd have beaten Ramy last year, because Ramy was a little bit off last. Yeah, I think he would have. Yeah, because I like that, the shaved head and the really streamlined, shredded look. I think he has to go for condition, because, like I said, his legs don't look so much of a weakness when they're really dry and shredded. Right. He beat Phil in 2020. I know Phil wasn't at his best, but like I said, Brandon is one of these guys that people just continually underestimate, and I think that's such a mistake. But I think this all this 255, 260, I think that's complete nonsense. But if it isn't, I think then he will get knocked out of the top 3. But I think they're too smart to try something and bring him in, because, like I said, he's got the muscle bellies, he's got a lovely shape. He's actually a quite aesthetic guy for someone who's got that round, bubbly muscle. So I do. Yeah, there's a couple of guys I think that could battle for that second place, but Brandon is one of them.
I completely disagree with one thing you said, Giles. I like him with hair, but that's me. All right. So let's move on. Right now, I'm just going in order of where they placed last year. But Hadi Choopan, the man from Iran, the Persian Wolf, a lot of people, there's a contingent of people who see him as the favorite to win this year, which I don't know. He's been third place a couple times. I think he was second after the judging one of these recent years. He's got crazy thickness, density, detail, a lot of things, but he stands next to Ramy, and it's just not enough. Miguel, could it be enough this year if he's even bigger?
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Giles said everything. The size game, it doesn't work for everybody. Do you guys remember Hadi Choopan's physique at, I think, Vancouver Pro?
Yeah.
2019?
2019.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I would like to see that physique at the Olympia stage. I think it would be more dangerous. His top 3, he's been in the top 3 for a couple of years, and this year I think he's a little different from Brandon Curry and Big Ramy. I think some people might pass him if he don't. My fear is he needs to get very dry, very lean, and playing the size game, the risk is a little higher of he not getting there. So I think he's going to be in the top 5, but I think he's not going to be at the top 3.
Wow. Giles, where do you think he's going to end up?
Hadi, I think, is going to end his career one day as like a Sean Ray. He's going to be like 10 years in a row, top 5. Wow. I think he's too consistent to ever drop out of the top 5. Maybe he can even hold a top 3 for the next several years, because he is so good. He's so complete. He's not missing anything. And I will say it now, because I like to talk about this one thing. It looks like he sorted this out.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen reports about it. People have been looking at his physique, and they said he has addressed it. So for me, I'm absolutely I'm thrilled about that, because that's the one thing that really pisses me off.
Dodgy delts.
Yeah, I like stripy delts. We like stripy delts.
Stripy, yeah.
So I am, like I said, I don't think anyone would be crazy enough to put Hadi at the top 5 or the top 6, because he's just every angle, every body part, everything's detailed, everything's dry. But like I said, even if he's he is detailed and dry. He's obviously going to stand up next to Ramy, and he's going to look like a 212 next to an open. You know, I mean, he has a good open. He's proven that, you know, and then what is he, 220 maximum on stage? I mean, I doubt maybe 218, 220, I estimate.
Yeah, probably not more than that.
But he's, you know, and I think he'll always hold that top 3, top 5 for as long as he wants, because he's so impressive and he's detailed, striated. And like I said, if he sorted that out, he's good to go this year. So he'll be a first call out. And I think maybe, yeah, he could take Brandon out if Brandon's not dry enough or he's not complete enough. I mean, it's very close between him and Brandon for that second spot, you know. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I did not have Hadi in my top 6 when Dennis James put me on the spot with the Ramy interview, but that's just because he slipped my mind. Believe me, guys, I do have Hadi in my top 6. Come on. So let's move on. 4th place last year was Hunter Labrada. This is a much tougher lineup, a tougher year. Can he hold 4th? Can he move up, or is he slipping? It all remains to be seen. I know we've seen some improvements for sure, but everybody's good. Walker got better. We got all these new guys. Start with you, Miguel. How do you think what are Hunter's chances this year of staying at 4th or even moving up?
Man, I think there's a few guys in the top 5. They are untouchable. Hunter, I think, is not one of them. I love his physique and I think he's great. But in the past few years, in the past few shows, we've seen him very lean at this point before the show on Instagram. And I don't see him so lean at this point. So that's my fear. Conditioning. And that's the hard thing to do when we are doing predictions, because so many things can happen in a matter of 2 hours. So many things can happen from the prejudging to the finals. Many things change. So it all depends on how conditioned they are going to get there. So from what I'm seeing from him, he's improved, but the guys ahead of him has improved as well. And the guys from behind are improving. Man, they are improving greatly. So I don't know. I don't know if he stays at the top 5 this year.
Yeah. Giles, I know we've always had this conversation on Instagram, translating to the stage, and some guys it works one way and the other way. I've been seeing some pictures, and I'll be honest, when I saw the side shots and his glutes and hams, I was like, I don't know. I think that should be a lot tighter at this point. But we've seen people pull it together very quickly. I don't know what's going to happen in his case. What does your gut tell you about Hunter?
Can I ask you both first? Where do you see the improvements?
Just general. I just see general size. He looks
general size.
About 10, 12 pounds of mass, I would say.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm sorry. And what I've seen, the recent videos, I mean, he always looks good. I mean, he's so transparent with his training and how he looks, his physique. He doesn't put stupid filters or stupid angles. He just puts it all out there and he's like, look, this is me. You know, and he always looks impressive. But I think this Olympia is another level this year, and I don't think he's not in my conversation for the top 6. I think he's going to place more like he did in 2020, which is more like 8th place. I think, which is still bloody good. You know, but we've got some guys coming in. I don't think he'll beat Nick again. I think Nick's going to surpass him, and I'm not crazy about Nick Walker's physique, but I think that Nick is actually I think he's gone to another level. I think Hunter, I don't know, maybe I just need to study more pictures, but I mean, I thought he did incredible last year. 4th place was absolutely amazing. But I don't see any improvements in the lower lats. Like I said last year, you know me, I like really dry, hard conditioning. I think he's really good. I think he's a solid 6th to 8th, maybe. I mean, I think it's going to be more like he placed 8th. I think it's going to be closer to 8th because, like I said, I think there's some new guys coming in this year that are going to absolutely steal the show.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Nick Walker. He has gotten bigger since last year. He's been putting up a lot of side-by-side shots of prep, you know, a week out, 2 weeks out from 2021 versus 2022. Conditioning looks better. He has put on, I don't know how much more real size it actually is, but the waist doesn't seem to have blown out. Some people have tried to say, oh, his gut got bigger and this and that, but you know, everybody, if they relax their gut, it's going to be protruding pretty much. I do see him potentially being as high as 3rd place. He's got all the mass in the world. Like you, Giles, It's weird because when he hits certain shots on Instagram and gym lighting, like his front double and his front lat, they look better to me. But when I see them on stage, I'm not as thrilled with them. But generally speaking, I can't argue with that amount of sheer mass and the conditioning that he is getting into, especially for someone so young.
Sorry to interrupt. I've never seen him. I've never actually seen him on stage yet. You have.
Oh, that's right.
So that's interesting what you say.
Yeah. So Miguel, what do you think? Because he's the talk. A lot of people say he could be the one pushing Ramy this year.
Yeah, he might be. I think he's good. He'll be ahead of Hunter. He's very good. I agree with you guys. At some poses, he seems much more impressive on Instagram than on stage. I think he's living in Vegas now. I think he moved from Tampa. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He even got a house. And since he moved to Vegas, I don't know what happened, but it seems to me the way he contracts and the way he engages his midsection is a little different. I think he's looking a little better from the front. And do you remember those selfie pictures he used to take on Instagram? And man, his waistline was so tiny, but you could see, man, it's the angle, it's from the phone. Now, sometimes we see another person taking the picture for him from a few feet.
More distance.
And he's looking a little better. I might be wrong, but I think being on a Dragon's Lair, and so I think someone is helping him with some posing, or someone just gave him that little input. Okay, man, do this and do that with your abs, and it's going to look better. I think something has changed there, and I think he's going to be up there. He might be beside Big Ramys. I think so. It's not impossible. I don't like his physique. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to be disrespectful. I like his physique. I think he's a freak. I love seeing him training, but we have to agree that his physique is not the prettiest in the world.
Neither is Ramy's.
But when we are analyzing bodybuilding, we want to analyze and want to understand what judges want and what judges like, and they seem to like his physique. So we have to take this into account.
Tiger, what do you think about the mutant?
I honestly don't know where I'm placing him. I think a lot of people could be right placing him top 3. I don't know whether he's going to beat Ramy, but if he's put a lot of size on, that makes me nervous because he's at that height where even last year to me, he looked a little bit maxed out, and it was kind of like Ramy. Ramy, for those years, he was kind of not quite hitting it. He didn't need to come in bigger and heavier. He just needed to fix certain elements of his physique, balance the legs with the hams and the quads and the glutes and fix the conditioning. And I think with Nick, all I wanted to see was just a better chest and better quads. And I'll be honest, I don't see it. I don't see it in his physique. I think he's got some very, very good compulsory shots, though. He's his front double bicep, his rear double bicep. I think he comes together. He's kind of like Dorian Yates. He would come together beautifully in those compulsory poses, and he hits them perfectly. I think he's really, really. So I've got him. Yeah, I don't know if he's in condition. If he's in condition, which he will be.
It's so hard.
He's. I'm just. God, I've never seen him in the flesh, so it's really difficult for me whether I put him 3rd or 6th. Do you know what I mean? But he's going to fall somewhere in there, I think. But he's definitely a wild card. He's definitely one that's going to look potentially go past a couple of the other guys, the more established guys like Bonac. I mean, like he did last year, but to kind of maintain that, he's going to have to look really, really, really like something he's never brought before. So Nick's the one I'm stuck on. I've got to be honest.
Okay. Well, you just brought up Bonac, and that's a good transition. He was 6th place last year, but that was not the best William. We saw him much, much better at the Arnold Classic a couple months later. Yeah, because the Arnold was 5 months later. Yeah. He looked fantastic. He won the Boston Pro week after that. He was back to his typical form. He's been as high as 2nd place at this contest before. He's been 3rd place. He's a 2-time Arnold champion. Muscle maturity, density, thickness. he's very hard to beat in all those categories. Structurally, it's not the prettiest shape and structure, which is why I think Brandon beat him at the Arnold, but he's tough. He's a grizzled veteran with a lot of seasoned, detailed muscle mass, thick as hell. I mean, it's hard to not have him in my top 5. So this is the toughest top 5, man. I swear to gosh. But Miguel, William Bonac, man, what do you think could happen with William?
Okay, man, this is hard because when I saw him last year in the Olympia, I thought to myself, okay, he's done. He's an old man. He's not balanced anymore. He has a lot of flaws, and so he's back to Arnold, and he was great. He has improved a lot. It seems to me he will come a little bigger this year too. Maybe he and Chad are going to try something different. And I mean, I don't know. This year is going to be a big man. They saying, okay, the Open is, they are trying to, or we are going to see more aesthetic guys, but we still have big, huge guys winning the show and huge guys being in the top 5. So maybe his structure is going to hold him down a little. I think he might be in the mix, but I don't know if he's going to make top 5.
Well, Giles, you've followed Bonac's career since long before most of us. Do you think he can move up? Where do you see him potentially landing this year?
Oh, he's going to do better than 6th this year. Okay. I've got him anywhere from 2nd to 4th. I really do. I think he's the one. I think he's the one that's going to shock. Because after what he did with Chad in 6 weeks, and I looked at a video he posted today, just some tricep dips, and I've had a funny feeling about Bonac all year, ever since we saw him at the Arnold Classic and started working with Chad, and I've been messaging him back and forth and stuff. And he actually said that he thought that the Boston Pro should have been between him and Samson. He said me and Samson should have been 1 and 2. He said to me the other week, and I think he's the one I'm going to go out on a limb for. I think he's the one who's going to really move back up. And he's another one, like I said, Brandon. I mean, potentially the top 3 could be Ramy, Brandon, and Bonac. And Bonac could even maybe beat Brandon. I don't know. But I've got a feeling that him and Chad are going to cook up something really special this year. And because he's at that age now where his muscle maturity is hitting an all-time peak. He's 41 now? Yeah, 41. 42. I mean, Ronnie said, I spoke to Ronnie the other day, and he said, I didn't hit my peak until I was like 40, 41. He said, that was when I was really at my biggest and best, in terms of mass and, and I mean, the thing is with Bonac, when he walks out, you're like, ooh, his structure looks a bit rectangular, a bit boxy. And then he starts hitting poses and it's just like game over because his physique comes together beautifully in every single compulsory pose. Maybe not the front lats, but a bit like Nick Walker, But I'd be going back on what I've been saying all year if I didn't say this, and I maintain that I think Bonac is going to be one of 3 guys that I think is really going to shock this year and is going to really and 100% I think he's going to move back up from 6th place.
I think the next guy I'm going to talk about is one of your people you're referring to as potential shocker, Derek Lunsford. We've never seen Derek next to any of these guys before, ever. We do have a couple new guys who've never stood in the Olympia lineup either, but Derek, total wild card. We've never seen him at more than 212 pounds. We've never seen him next to any of these guys we've talked about. Size-wise, he looks like he could stand next to anyone in terms of sheer size, and he's got so much round, full muscle now that he's not restricted by that weight limit of the 212. I think that the teaming up with Hadi has really transformed his physique. I'm really curious to see. I think he could be as high as, all right, you guys think I don't smoke crack this early in the morning or ever. But I think in a crazy world, I think as high as 2nd or 3rd.
Wow.
I could see it happening. Miguel, am I crazy?
No, I don't think so. I kind of agree with you because he's big. And okay, he was at 212, but Hadi was at 212. And when he entered the Open division, he was 3rd place. Bonac was at 212 in the past. and he's doing. So I don't think this is going to be a problem. I think he took the decision. Okay, I'm going to open, and before taking that decision, of course, I think they have talked to some judges. Okay, well, how do you think I would go if I would go into the open division? And he might have got good feedback. I think that, in my opinion, I don't know if that really happened, but I think that might have taken something to, okay, so I'm doing open. And once again, judges like him. He has the look. He's a great guy. He has everything. I think he's doing great. And on top of that, he has a great physique. His physique flows very well. His legs are bigger because he doesn't have to cut the weight and eat his legs away. I can see him. I can see him in the top 5, and I can see him as high as second place.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
It can happen. It can happen.
Giles, you and I, we've been watching this guy from day one of his pro career, literally Tampa that year. So you've seen his progression. You've seen how he's changed over this past year. Is it going to be enough to push guys like Hadi Choopan, William Bonac, Brandon Curry out of the way, possibly?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, first of all, is he's got to get past those other X212s. He's got to get past Hadi and Bonac, which are absolutely sensational. And they're a few years into the open. They've really... So thing is, we don't know how he's going to look as an open. I don't want him to come in at like 218 and look marginally bigger than he was at 212, because what we saw at Pittsburgh back in April, he was 258, 260. I mean, he wasn't in contest condition, but everything was separated. He was hitting the vacuum. You know, he was carrying so much size, and I think he's actually got bigger since then. I think he's got more development, he's got muscle maturity, which seemed to come very, very fast. And every single video, every single photo we've seen has completely blown my mind, to be honest. I mean, that one he did with the arms up from the back and cable rows, and you're like, that doesn't even look human. He looks like he just looks, and everything's in proportion, his legs, everything. And you know he's going to be conditioned because Hani Rambod's on his ass. So it's going to be, but I think I want to see him. I want to see him in that call out next to Hadi and Bonac. And if he can get past them, then anything can happen. You know, he could be the one, because like I said, he ticks every box. I mean, he's got aesthetic. I mean, I actually said, I'm going to get some hate now. I actually said, if Nick Walker beats that, there's something wrong with bodybuilding. Because you've got someone with the size, but similar kind of, like, not, I mean, I wouldn't say that Derek has the freakiness of Nick, but he's got aesthetics. And the thing is, he does that frontal bicep, which is the first compulsory pose. And it's just like, it's like it's a real breathtaking, pose. Yeah. So I just, like I said, I can't say whether he's going to be second or eighth. I can't predict where he's going to place because we don't know how he's going to look as an open. He could come out and just be like, holy shit, Ramy's in trouble. Or it could be, okay, he's a 6th to 8th guy, But I think I'm actually most excited about seeing how Derek looks as an open than anything for this show. I mean, honestly, that is the one thing I think I'm going to get out of the way, Ramy. Come on, Brandon, get out of the way. I want to see how Derek looks as an open because I think because I love the idea of the special invite for him because I didn't want to see him at a qualifier as an open. I know a lot of people disagreed with that, but I wanted the big reveal at the Olympia. And I think that's why they gave him the special invite because they knew that people like fans like myself would be eager to see this new version of him based upon what we saw at Pittsburgh.
100%. Yeah, well, let's move on to someone who doesn't get a lot of talk compared to some of these bigger names, but he's been very consistent. It's Canada's Ian Valliere. Now I think he's still in Florida, but I was talking to Factory about him yesterday, and the thing with Ian is when the lineup first comes out, you're not really drawn to Ian. I mean, don't get me wrong, he looks great, but just standing there, it's like, he doesn't really wow you at all, I don't think. But when he starts posing, certain poses, the back shots, his side shots, the detail, Patrick dials this guy in, grainy, dry, crispy. That's where he beats a lot of these guys who have bigger names and who have more fan support. But I don't know. 7th place, it was 7th last year, Giles. I always look to you for the numbers. You're good like that. This is much tougher Olympia lineup. Can Ian hold 7th? Can he move up? I'm going to start this time with you, Giles.
I don't know whether he's going to crack top 6, but I think he's going to look absolutely the best he's ever looked. Because I know that because I've been looking at all the progress pictures and all the videos and stuff, and I mean and I know Patrick, he doesn't filter the pictures, anything like that. You know, he's in condition now. He's been in condition for a couple of weeks, and he's bought the back up. But I think he's one of those guys that, like I said, if the other guy, the bigger names ahead of him, like the top 6 guys, don't do their homework, he will step over them. But you know what? The thing with Valliere, he needs to learn how to peak for prejudging. Otherwise, he's going to get knocked out in the top 10. Seriously, I think I'm certainly at the top. Well, I think maybe he'll slip from 7. Put it that way. Yeah. But he needs to peak, because sometimes some of the shows, like when he did the New York Pro and he won that at the prejudging, I had him like 4th or 5th. And then he pulled it out of the bag for the night show. But he needs to peak for prejudging to really get his sort of placing and really hold it. Otherwise, he's going to get overlooked, or he's going to get pushed down. Probably that's better to say. But you know, he's a guy that's going to be big, conditioned. I said to him, I said on his post, I said, I'm getting Dorian Yates vibes here from like the spread, mate.
Yeah, Miguel, what do you think of Ian? He's a workhorse. The guy works hard. And he's very consistent. What do you think is going to happen? Possibly.
He works very hard. This year, he's not training Bungstead.
Right.
So he's focusing on himself. I think it helps. And I think that's why he's looking much better. But like you said, it's a much tougher lineup. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think we will have new guys, but I think new guys are coming, and it's going to be hard for him to hold that 7th place. But at the same time, on the other hand, judges like to like him. Judge seems to like his physique. So there's this thing, and we have to take this in consideration. But if I have to bet, I would say he's going to go down a couple of spots this year.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think, guys, this is a question to both of you. How do you think Krizo will look next to him? Because Krizo really wants to be stood next to Valliere. He said that in your interview, didn't he, Ron?
Yeah.
He said, I want to stand next to Krizo. And he obviously that's where he maybe sees himself in that kind of positioning, you know, that second call out. You know, so I think it's going to be interesting seeing those two together, because you've got somebody with better structure and then someone who's just, and also Valliere's another thing. He's managed to get his tan right now. And I know that is a factor at the Olympia when things are this tight, you know. So that's another thing: conditioning, tanning, everything. He's put one size on. Sorry, I was just.
I prefer Krizo's physique a little bit more. Certain things just really impressed me. I know he still needs more back, and Ian's probably going to beat him in the back shots. But man, Ian doesn't have the greatest arms, particularly triceps. Krizo's arms they're literally as big as his head, and he doesn't have a small head. It's just a very overpowering physique. I guess we're talking about Krizo now, so might as well just transition right into him.
Compare them.
Yeah, I mean, Krizo is another X factor, because we've never seen him next to any of these guys before. He's been winning. He won 14 out of 15 shows in Elite, but it wasn't against any of these guys. But as far as him and Valliere, if they're both equally conditioned, I'd give it to Krizo, but I suspect we might see superior condition from Ian, because Ian's, especially for the finals, Patrick and Ian, they seem to have the formula down. And Krizo, I've never seen Krizo, you know, don't forget about the Instagram pictures. Go by the stage shots. I haven't seen that level of detail on him yet. So that could be the deciding factor.
I don't think Krizo will get a call out with him. I don't think he'll get. I think because obviously I was in Prague and I saw Krizo, and what he brought there was not top 50 at the Olympia, I'll be honest. Yeah. But you know, he's had how many weeks now? And we have seen a couple of pitches, but I suspect maybe they're sharpened up a little bit. Yeah. You know, you can't trust these pitches every time. So I mean, like I said, Krizo's gonna have to bring something completely different here to even be able to stand next to the likes of Valliere this year. You know, and I mean, future years, it's going to be a different story, because I think guys like him and Andrew Jack are going to be filling the top 6 from next year if they do everything right. But this year, I don't think he'll even get a call out with Valliere.
Wow. All right. Well, Miguel, now we're talking about another Miguel, Miguel Krizo. It's Michael, but same name. He's another X factor. We've never seen him in this caliber of lineup. We don't know what he's capable of. He has had time, but like I said, Instagram sharpened pictures. You don't know what he's going to really look like. What does your gut tell you, Miguel? What do you think is going to happen with Krizo?
Krizo, the Slovakian beast. I like his physique, man. I like his physique a lot. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be sharp or lean enough to be in the second call-up. I don't think we are going to see him next to Ian. But if they, like you said, I agree with you. If they are in the same condition, I would prefer Krizo's a little better. But I don't think this is going to happen this year.
Okay. Well, now we need to talk about another guy who we have not seen great condition from him yet. Andrew Jacked. He's the rookie of the year. 9 months ago, this guy was an amateur. He blew away the Texas Pro. He came out and the show was over. It was that easy of a victory. Arnold UK, similar situation, but he wasn't standing next to these guys these names that we're rattling off here. Man, so Andrew Jacked is a huge X factor. You have people saying they think he can win. He has a ton of fans, obviously. Yeah, I know, Giles, relax. We'll get to it. But I think winning is a stretch for him. I agree with Fak, who we talked yesterday. He still needs a little more mass. I don't think he's maxed out. He's got long arms and legs. They say, well, he's 290, this and that. I said, it doesn't matter. It's all visual. It doesn't matter what he weighs. He still needs to fill out a little bit more. And that condition, the condition that we've seen from him so far is not going to be first call out. It's not even going to be second call out at this show. If he shows up with mushy, soft glutes and hams, no, you're not even going to get a look. I'm really hoping that him and George, remember these numbers that we throw out? He was 82% for the Texas Pro. He was 84.1% for Arnold UK. I want to see this 9,500%. If we see that, let's start with you, Giles. If he comes in much, much sharper than we've seen him so far this year, where does he land?
If he brings something like he's never brought before, I think if he scrapes into the top 10, that's going to be a huge achievement and a great starting point. I don't think he's going to be top 10. I mean, I've been called an Andrew Jacked hater. I spoke to him last week. I think he's a lovely guy. I get on great with him. He's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I think, 2 years, I think he could be number 16. I think he could be another couple of years. I mean, he's 37 now. I think a couple more years. And I think between, like I said, him and Krizo will be pushing guys out of those top six, for breakfast. But I think this year, no, I think he's too inexperienced. I don't think his body is ready to bring the kind of Olympia level condition he'll need to bring. I could see him 11th to 15th. I think, but like I said, this has been a great, regardless of what happens, it's been a great first year for him. He hasn't lost a show. He's won 3 shows in a row, in his first year. And I think he's actually hoping for top 10, but I don't see, he's got improvements he needs to make. But like I said, the potential is there to be, like I said, he could be, like a Ronnie Coleman. I mean, I wouldn't say would win 8, but I think the potential and the frame and the, his front shots, I think everything, the potential's there, raw potential. The thing is, time's ticking. He's 37, so he's kind of got maybe like a 5-year pro career, so he can't wait around. But like I said, I'm excited to see him, but I'm not expecting him to be top 10. I've got to be brutally honest.
Fair enough.
But he's amazing. But
Miguel,
like said, just he needs more time.
Gotcha. To you, Miguel, what do you think? Is he ready for top 10 this year, or does he still need some time?
I think so. I think we can see him on top 10 this year. He's a freak. He has very impressive shots from the front. I agree with you guys. His long limbs need to fill up. Yeah. And I don't want to sound disrespectful, but at some poses, his arms, they look weird because they are not as big as they should be yet. But he has that freak factor. He has that X frame, and he's one of those guys that even if he don't get there at 100% conditioning, he still can do good. I think his shape, his physique, his freak factor can carry him into the top 10, even if he's not in the best conditioning.
Okay. Miguel, let's talk about Rafael Brandao, because he's not getting a lot of talk as far as being in top 6, but I think, who was it? Was it Flex Lewis the other day said he's got him in his top 3 or something?
top
Yeah,
three.
was it Flex Lewis or
Brandon
somebody else?
Brandon Curry told
It was Brandon Curry. It was Brandon Curry. Sorry.
top five. Yeah.
Yeah, top five. And why not? I mean, he's bigger. The guy's got beautiful, beautiful shape. The argument is, oh, he's just not big enough to stand next to these guys. You've obviously followed Rafael's career from day one. He is bigger. Do you think it's going to be enough? Do you think, because we have had Olympias in recent years where, like the late Sean Roden, wasn't a massive guy, but beautiful shape, structure, symmetry, and that carried him through. He won the Olympia. It's not always a big freaky man's contest, even though that's what people like to say. So where does that put Rafael Brandao this year, Miguel?
People say that, oh, okay, Brandon is not so big, but he's not small too. He has great lines. Right now he's around 260 pounds. It's the heaviest he's been. And he changed it a little, his training. Now he's doing less volume in the last few weeks, but they are increasing the intensity. So he's getting closer to failure on each set. And because of that, he's able to retain more mass. And he told me 2 days ago, his lower back, his glutes, and his hamstrings, they are the leanest they've been at this point.
Wow.
And he's a little bigger. So I think we are going to see the best Rafael Brandao this year. He's happy. He moved to São Paulo. He was living in a southern state. He was living like far from almost everybody. Now he's training in a big training center in Brazil. He's training with Gabriel Zancanelli, which is a classic physique. And it's the Brazilian Mecca. There we can see Rafael Brandao, Ramondino, Gabriel Zancanelli, Horse MD.
Wow.
You say a big name in Brazil, they will be, this name will be there in that gym, Ironberg. And it's a very famous gym in Brazil. I don't know, man. Top 10, it's his first Olympia. I think that an experience factor might play a little, because he might get a little nervous. We don't know. He seems very relaxed at this point. Okay, I did my job. I did everything I could. But it's a very difficult lineup. It's being in the top 10 is like a win. And I really don't know, man. I really hope he gets the top 10. I really hope he gets the first is difficult, but I really hope he get that second call out, so he can be compared to the other guys. And I think from there he can work his way up to something. But let's see. It's hard talking about Rafael, because I don't.
Sorry, how old is Rafael now? He's what, 20?
I think he's 28.
Oh wow.
Jeez. Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, he's young.
Jeez.
Wow, that's very young. Yeah, Giles, you're a huge fan of shape, proportion, symmetry. You've gone on record saying, people say he's not big enough. He's not a small guy. Especially you stand there, you see him in front of you on stage. He's not a small guy. Does he have enough size to be, let's say, second? I think first call out is a little. It's a stretch. It's a real stretch.
No, the first call out is practically impossible. But I think he's going. I think he's going to shock people when they see him on stage.
Yeah,
I think they will have a different impression this time.
I'm not saying that top 10's out of the question. I would not be shocked if he did. But thing is, I'm nervous because we've seen him 4 weeks out. Remember, was it last year? And then he did that tour in Brazil, and then he seemed to lose all the muscle he gained. Because I saw those pictures the other week. I think you put in the video, you posted up, and I was like, holy shit. I said, he's actually bigger. He is bigger. You can see he's visually bigger, but he's still got that quality. He's still got the condition, the separation, the tie-ins. The waist is nice and small. And that's the holy grail. If you can add on 10, 15 pounds, and if anything, it enhances your shape instead of detriment to it, that's incredible. So I'm just hoping that brings that to the stage, and he doesn't kind of lose all those gains in the last couple of weeks. So I'm hopeful. I could see him second call out. I could see him bottom end of the second call out. He could be one of those new faces that just literally jumps straight into the top 10. I mean, I saw him in Romania last year when he won, interviewed him on stage. And I saw him in San Marino when he made his pro debut in 2017. Beautiful physique. He just, he's on his way. He's on his way. But if he gets top 10, incredible. But I think he's more likely 11th to 15th guy. But as long as he places in that top 15, he's got a good starting point then on which to build. Because like I said, at 28, he's got so much time and he is impressive. And like I said, I like physiques that have aesthetics and size, and Rafael has both.
Yeah. So, man, there's so many great guys in the show that we're just now getting to Samson Dauda.
Yeah.
Who could potentially be top 5. I don't see that as being a crazy statement at all. He's looking fantastic. Very impressed when I saw him at the Arnold earlier this year in the Boston Pro a week later. And since then, as you know, Giles, you've had him on Global Muscle a couple of times since then. He's been getting bigger and bigger, and that waist doesn't get any bigger. It's like 30 inches at what was he like? He was
34 inches. When he was 330, his waist was still 34 inches.
So, good Lord. I mean,
and I stayed at his house in February, and you can see his. I saw your waist. I said, "How is it?" It was about. I think it was about 300 then. I was like, "How is your waist so small?" And he says,
"Sorry, 34 inches."
Yeah,
34-inch waist at 330 pounds at his biggest off season. That's
really.
Yeah. I can show you the message on my phone when he took me, but I was staying at his house, and I think it is honestly, it's quite. You got to see him, and he's one of these guys you've got to see in the flesh. Photos and videos actually won't do him justice until you see him physically on stage. You'll get then how big he is and how aesthetic he is.
Yeah, and I mean that you just nailed it. He's probably got the best combination of size and aesthetics of anybody. I think anybody we're talking about in this conversation. He's probably going to be somewhere around, what do you think, like 280 on stage, something like that?
285, I think. He was 280 at the Arnold.
Yeah.
And then I think he was, I didn't get the body weight at Boston Pro, but I would imagine he'd be at least 5 pounds heavier. But I think he's going to be in better condition than in Boston, because Boston I thought he looked fantastic, but he did need to come in crisper.
Right. Yeah, that's the only thing. He looked really good. But I said, Olympia, if he's tighter than this, and I think he's had all this time, he's had months and months to do it. So, man, I could potentially see him top 5. I don't think that's beyond possibility at all. And, at the lowest, I don't see him out of the top 10 at all. But geez, what do you do with a guy like that? Miguel, what do you do with a physique like that? I don't see any glaring weak points on this guy. He could stand next to any of them on size and shape. So, Miguel, where do you think this guy might place, in your opinion?
And he's a warrior. I don't know if you remember that Korea episode a couple of years ago during the pandemics.
Oh yeah, we all remember
that. Yeah,
man, he's a warrior. What he did there, and he's so good. He's so good. He's improving. He's bigger. He's one of those guys that he has great lines, aesthetics, and he's getting bigger. I think that Regan, Rafael, and Samson, they are 3 guys that can do that. But Samson is bigger than the other 2. If he comes shredded, real shredded, like Hadi Choopan or something like that, he can be in the top 5. And I don't see him out of top 10 in the worst. I think it's very unlikely. I'd love to see him very lean. I'm not sure if we are going to see him in his leanness this time, but I'd love to see him, because I think he has. I think he told that he's not using the scale to weigh himself, because I think I heard of that, because he doesn't. Okay, man, I don't want, because we have one weight set in our heads. Okay, I intend to arrive there, like, I don't know, 280. And when you get near that and you are not lean enough, you start, your head start playing games with you, and you start, how's the word in English, man? You start sabotage.
Sabotage, yeah.
Miguel.
So that's
saying
my concern.
Ramy had to come in lighter to win the Olympia. I mean, Samson, whatever, it doesn't, like I said, it's irrelevant what he weighs. He could maybe possibly come in lighter and look bigger and better, because the quality of everything just magnified.
Yes, that's my point. But my point is, my concern is okay, man, I don't want you to arrive there smaller, because sometimes bodybuilders they do this mistake. Okay, I don't want to dry anymore because I'll be smaller than the other guys. And sometimes you can give away a little mass and arrive there shredded, and it's going to be better. But I think he's too good. I think he's too good, and he's a good position at this point.
I think I'm going to maintain what I've been saying all year. I think the potential is there to make first call out. But if you remember when Brandon made first call out in 2017, Brandon Curry, he was first call out, but he took 8th place.
Wow.
Now I've kind of got 5th to 8th in my head. I think the best he could hope for is 5th. And I think the worst is about 8th. But like I said, he's going to have to bring conditioning he's never brought before. Like Derek Lunsford, he's going to have to bring something we've not seen from him before.
Yeah.
So, but everything's there. We did that one, the arm bicep, he posted it the other day, and it's just like, my God, it looks like you squint, it's like Flex Wheeler, but with more size, just absolutely, just a beautiful physique. And I hope that if it's not just about size, it's his aesthetics that are rewarded. And like I said, I hope that he makes top 10, which I think he will, because I want to see his posing routine.
That's right.
Because that has to happen. If he gets like 11th place, I'm going to cry. I'm going to riot in Vegas. But I think I'm going to maintain what I've been saying all year, based upon if he brings something that we've not seen from him before. First call out, 5th to 8th.
Fair enough. Okay, we're only going to talk about one more guy, and I apologize to everyone we didn't talk about. Guys, there's 30 of you in this show. Some fantastic people. If I didn't talk about you, it's nothing personal. It's just, yes.
Well, can I interject? So just had a quick thought. I don't want to slip out of my mind.
Yeah.
There's 2 reasons why this Olympia is different this year. There's more guys than there's ever been. I remember the 2002 Olympia had like 25, 30 guys. But this year, there's been no dropouts. Apart from Regan, how many dropouts have we actually seen this year? Normally, I remember like some Olympias, like 4, 5, 6 guys, up to like 3, 4 weeks out are dropping out. But to the best of my knowledge, it's only Regan.
So Sean Clarita he didn't drop out. He's doing 212. Steve Kuklo, he didn't really drop out. He was qualified, but he's trying to make a baby. Regan did drop out because he wants to focus on adding more size. Nathan Dasha tore 1 or 2 biceps.
2 biceps.
Unbelievable. And Angel Calderon, I believe Angel's going to do 212.
Yeah.
So the only one that dropped out really due to injury was Nathan that was qualified. It's huge. But yeah, like I said, I even planned to talk about Classic in this. I've changed my mind, guys. We've already been talking an hour. I'll do that with Jose Raymond, and I will do 212 in Classic. So
cool.
Go ahead. I got one more guy to talk about, unless you really need to talk about anyone else. It's Blessing Awodibu. Certainly hype. He creates his own hype. He doesn't need, everyone else to do it for him. But he did win 2 shows this year, New York Pro, Indy Pro. I did see major improvements in him, mainly in terms of condition from last year. Last year, he was really flat and conditioned at the first show, and then fuller with no condition at the second show last year. Pulled it together this year. I do agree, lower body is still not where it needs to be to match that upper body, but beautiful shape, structure. I don't know. Top 10 would be fantastic for him for an Olympia debut. Can he pull that off? We'll start with you, Miguel.
I don't think so. With this kind of lineup at this point, no. Antoine Vaillant might have a better chance.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm not arguing that. Giles, Blessing.
I think if he makes top 15, it's going to be a really good starting point for him. Because he's almost like one of these guys that doesn't even need to win shows to be popular and everything else, because he offers a lot to the industry, but I think he's still a work in progress. I'm really excited to see him at the Olympia, but I'm interested to see him up against. I want to see him up against Charles Griffin again, because I thought it was really close between those two. And Charles Griffin, he posts every single rep he posts every set, every exercise he does, and he is. I thought it was super close. I was watching it from my hospital bed back in Ireland back in May when the New York Pro and the Indy Pro. And it was super close between those two. So I wouldn't mind seeing like a rematch, like say third, fourth call out, between those two guys. And I would love to see them both in the top 15. But like I said, it is going to be tough.
Yeah, man. So we'll be there, Giles. We'll be on site, guys, doing interviews live, all kinds of cool live stuff from Las Vegas. So be on this channel all next weekend for sure. Follow along, musculardevelopment.com. We're going to do a play-by-play with Big Mike Cox, Chris Griffin, going to be on hand for that. They're going to be watching the pay-per-view and all that. And of course, get the pay-per-view, guys. If you can't be there, support the sport. There are different packages for the Amateur Olympia if you just want to see that, or the Olympia weekend, but it gives you access to all the judging, all the finals for all 11 divisions. That's how many divisions there are, guys, now. 11 divisions, and even the seminar, the victory seminar Sunday morning, which Giles will be at. I'll be on my way to the airport by then. But man, Miguel, what, you get in next Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, I'll be there next Monday.
Okay, all right. I mean,
Next Monday.
we might grab you for some stuff if you don't mind. Grab you for some commentary. I don't think you'll mind. I know you're
Sure.
You're doing your own thing, of course. But when you have time, we'd love to have you pipe in with us from time to time. And man, I'm just psyched about seeing Giles again in real life. It's been almost 3 years.
I actually don't exist anymore. I'm just AI.
We're not going to talk about that Lensa app, but
Yeah.
seen a lot of
I
cartoons.
look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Lauren did something to me that I hate them. I look so skinny in them as well. Look awful.
I'm afraid I'd get addicted to it. I'd be there. That'd be the rest of my life was just making myself into cartoons. So man, looking forward to seeing both. Yeah.
Can I ask a question to you both, please, guys, before we go?
Sure.
Who are you most excited to see when you're sat in the audience in the press pit and then you're waiting for those guys to, who's your eyes going to be drawn to first when you hear the name? Ron?
Lunsford. Derek Lunsford.
Miguel?
Lunsford.
Yeah.
Me too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Me too.
I've seen everybody else. I've never seen Derek I've never seen what Derek's capable of. Like, we never got to see Flex Lewis at 225 or whatever he was probably at his best at. He dieted all away. So yeah, and this is a brand new physique that we've never seen. I've seen Derek many times, but I've never seen this Derek.
But would you both be as excited to see him if he'd have had to qualify as an open?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Nope. So freaking brilliant, Dan Solomon. You are a brilliant man.
Loved it. I reckon he must have watched our previews where I was campaigning for him to get the special invite.
Oh, right on. Yeah. You were supporting that the whole time. So
yeah. I've got a lot of hate for that. I've had a lot of hate for that. I'm an Andrew Jack hater. I forget how much.
Every one of us is going to get hate for something we said on this, and it's okay, guys. You can all have your own top 10, guys. You can all have your favorites. That's what this is. That's what makes the sport fun and interesting. We all have our own preferences and opinions. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. It's all good, guys. It's all love. It's all bodybuilding. This is what we're here for. We're here for our Super Bowl.
And this is a very, very unpredictable Olympia. Normally, I don't even have to write them down or think about it. I could just come here and I'm going blah, blah, blah. But this year, I'm really stressing. I'm fully expecting and preparing myself that I'm going to go completely wrong. But I apologize. I have sat on the fence a little bit with a few of these names. There's a few guys I don't know whether, it's like I'm really struggling because, like I said, there's guys like Samson and Derek that we don't know how they're going to look. We don't know how Bonac's going to look with a full 10 months working with Chad Nichols. We don't know. We don't know what Ramy's going to do with a full year of training. Is he going to look burnt out, or is he going to look absolutely the best ever? So there's a lot of question marks over this Olympia, and that's why I'm so excited to be coming, because it's just going to be. I think it's going to the atmosphere, the venue. I think it's going to be I think it's my 7th or 8th Olympia. I think this is going to be the best one I've ever been to.
Yeah. So join us, guys. Our coverage from Las Vegas starts Thursday. Thursday we'll be there. We'll be at the athletes meeting, knocking out interviews like crazy. That's what we do. That's what we're there. So look forward to seeing you guys, my compatriots from South America and Europe. And I'm from someplace called North America, I believe. Yes. So that's it, guys. MuscularDevelopment.com next weekend from Thursday all the way through to Sunday. And of course, this YouTube channel. Keep it here and get that pay-per-view at MrOlympia.com. Hopefully you can remember the name of that website, MrOlympia.com. Shouldn't be that hard, guys. Yeah. I think there's no underscores or anything crazy like that.
No. Do you know that we are going to have a special pay-per-view for Brazil with with Portuguese, Portuguese host this year? Yeah, man. This is going to be huge.
Shouldn't you be the host?
No. They will have a huge guy here in Brazil. He's a pro bodybuilder. He's manager of Ramon.
Okay.
And
okay.
one of the owners of that big gym, he has like 4 or 5 million followers on social
Wow.
media. He's a big name here, and he's very capable. It's going to be nice, man.
Okay.
So how long before they get the Olympia in Brazil? Then, by the sounds of it, it's going to happen soon, I think.
Mm.
I think so. They are going to. They're doing Masters Olympia in Romania.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this might be a sign.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure.
I think if Brandon or William Bonac doesn't make top 3, and I think that they do the 14 over at the Masters Olympia, I think you'll see William and Brandon jumping into that one next August, because it's still undecided whether it's going to be 40 or over or 45 and over. Because I was speaking to Jake Wood at the after party in Romania.
Oh no. They made it 45.
Oh, did they?
45.
Oh, wow, okay.
45.
Alina what said, I want the best quality guys. I want it 40 and over. And Jake said, I want it 45 and over. And they were just literally asking people what they thought. Yeah. But, that eliminates that idea because they're only 41. So I think that's a good, I said to Jake, I'd like to see it 45 and over because, guys like William Bonac and Brandon are just hitting their peak now,
Yeah, we just saw those guys. Come on.
Yeah, you guys have the chance, It's just,
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for participating today.
Thank you.
It's been a great discussion. This is going to be amazing, Olympia, guys. So please stay with us all next weekend for our coverage here at Muscular Development of the Olympia weekend. Can't wait to bring it all to you live from Las Vegas. We will be there on site, mixing it up with these guys, and we hope you'll join us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.